Hello and welcome to an Aussie Drongo 1v1 game. Here we have Aussie Drongo spawning in on the right side as the color purple with Jushi's Legacy, and to the left side it is 360135 and so on, Mr. Phone Number Guy playing in blue as the Japanese. Now, the map that we're playing on is Cliffside, and this is a Conqueror 1 level player facing off Drongo, who is at Conqueror 2 level at the time of casting this game. Now, I've independently verified that this is indeed Drongo's account, and this Chinese text actually translates into juicy in English. So, I guess it's kind of fitting that Drongo is going to use the Jushi civilization with the new username Ju. I'm getting my tongue tripped up on this. He's going to use the Jushi civilization with the username Juicy. Okay, there it is. Anyway, Japanese versus the Jushi over here. This is an interesting matchup because normally, if your opponent isn't putting a lot of units on the field early on, Jushi can get away with most of the relics using Shaolin monks. And I know that that's a build that Drongo loves to use, so I'm actually curious if that's the direction that he's going to go towards in here. On Cliffside, the relics are kind of weirdly split in some cases. This time around, you see Drongo has only one relic on his side. There is technically a second one, but it's all the way to the top. There is one in this little area in the middle, kind of at the hilltop, one offset to the south, and then one far away from Drongo on the side of his opponent, Blue. I'm just going to call him Blue because I don't want to read all these numbers up. Now, one way to counter a Shaolin Monk expansion is using Uma Bannerman by the Japanese. And that requires you to gather stone as you are working your way towards Feudal Age, so by the time you get to Feudal Age, you can unlock the Daimyo Manor upgrade. Now, the Uma Bannerman works essentially as a proxy knight, and this can be a great unit to deal with Shaolin monks. Normally, Shaolin monks are very, very strong when it comes to melee fighting. They do have a very nice base attack with a crazy fast attack speed, and they do have a respectable amount of HP, 170, for such an early game unit. So even horsemen will struggle against Shaolin monks unless you have a lot of them. But the Uma Bannerman is a different unit. It does have a great charge attack, like knights do, and it does have great melee attack as well. So one thing that you can do with the Bannerman is keep charging out. It also has deflective armor, which means that the first attack does get cancelled. So with the Bannerman, you can actually pick off those monks slow and steady. Now the big issue with the Bannerman play here, as we see Drongo going up the Feudal Age with the Meditation Gardens, the big issue with the Bannerman play is that you can only get one Bannerman as long as you have the Daimyo Manor upgrade only. And because of that, the way that Drongo would need to play this is essentially use his scout to keep track of the one Bannerman running around his base, and then use that knowledge to avoid the Bannerman altogether with his monks. On the other side, a response to those monks could be early archers, trying to just pick them off from a distance. We'll have to see if Blue goes for that. He's aging up with the Kura Storehouse, definitely the more preferred landmark for Japanese players on land maps. It does give you a lot of farms to work with in this early mid-period of Feudal Age, which means that your food eco is going to be very sustainable in the long run, and allows you to have that consistent investment into army in Feudal Age. We talk about this very frequently when we cast games. That applies to me and all casters, of course. Farm transition is something that kills a lot of momentum, so if you can avoid your farm transition, or you can delay it quite a bit, that means that you can maintain a continuous momentum and a continuous level of aggression. And this is exactly what the Kura Storehouse sets up for you. It allows you to have that continuous level of aggression because you don't have to invest into farms for quite some time. Now, in the meantime, you see Drongo is piling up food and gold, so indeed we're likely going to see a castle age from him here. Nice little spot for the Meditation Gardens. It doesn't have gold in its aura, but the only place where Drongo could have gotten that is probably right here. I feel like this would have been a little bit too much on the front though, so he probably didn't want to risk placing it over there. Daimyo Manor has been finished, and there is a stable coming in indeed. So we are going to see an Uma Bannerman here from Blue. Now, when you look at the relics, there is one close to Drongo. This is probably not the big priority. The big priority for Drongo would be picking this one up as long as the Bannerman is to the north of his base. Same thing, yoinking this one at the same time. And then at least getting this one. I don't think this is realistic. He might be able to get it, but blue should be able to deny this with the Bannerman. The other 4 are actually feasible for Drongo to take. Shaolin Monastery on the way for Drongo. First Bannerman is out. As you see, deflective armor means that this guy is going to survive the first punch coming in from the Shaolin monks. And it also does have that nice base attack with the charge, 28 with the Naginata. Now, as I said, this kind of works as a knight in many ways. It's essentially a knight-style unit in Feudal Age. Heavily armored, slow cavalry with great charge and great base attack. But you only can make one of them, and that's the biggest weakness here. It's great when it comes to raiding gold mines and such, but as you see, Drongo won't need gold because Shaolin monks only cost food. And this unit is terrible when it comes to catching a lot of monks because it's slow and you only have one of these. Now, when you look at the stats of the Shaolin monk, one thing that you will see is that they actually beat horsemen one-on-one. So that's part of the reason why we don't see many horsemen from blue here. 15 base attack with 0.75 attack speed. Think about that for a moment, actually. Uma Bannerman has 16 or 18 base attack, depending on the buff. Let's say 18 base attack for the katana. So the normal attack, not the charge. But it's a 1.5 second attack speed. So the effective DPS is actually better for the monk, which does 30 damage in 1.5 seconds. So, in many ways, a prolonged engagement between a Shaolin monk and the Bannerman itself is not something the Bannerman will like. But definitely not the Horseman. Horsemen simply cannot stand up against this troop. Now, one thing that can stand up probably is Samurai. They do have the deflective armor as well, and they do have a lot of melee armor. Onabugeisha is not a good unit against these though, because Onabugeisha is super fragile. They do have a crazy fast attack as well, 0.9 attack speed, but the base attack itself is low. And more importantly, the HP is very low for the Onabugeisha. So monks will just beat up these ladies very badly. Drongo looking to take the sacred site in the middle. This is gonna be an ugly fight. Yeah, look at this. One hit, down to 70 HP. Monk barely scratched. Interesting to see that Drongo is actually taking the sacred sites here over the relics. Just goes to show his confidence in these Shaolin monks. He doesn't want to sneak out here. Now he's taking a fight against the Bannerman. Remember, this Bannerman is very expensive. 140 gold, 100... or 140 food, 100 gold. Against a monk that's only 200 food. And the monk is actually going to be taken out here, but the Bannerman is left at only 4 HP. This is why this build from the Shaolin monks is so oppressive. It is extremely difficult to deal with them one-on-one. And now Drongo is going up with the Jiangnan Tower. This is his second H2 landmark, so this is going to push him into Song Dynasty. He actually captured all 3 sacred sites, but he won't be able to hold them for long. And now Onabugeisha are coming in large quantities. As much as a single Onabugeisha will lose to Shaolin monks, one thing that you can do with these folks is mass-produce them, and that's exactly what Blue is doing. And suddenly you have a fast-moving unit that can beat up the monk simply just based on raw numbers. And this is an issue right now for Drongo, I feel. He opted not to take the relics, instead focusing on the sacred sites. But this means that he is yet to get the first relic in, and now he's facing a lot of Onabugeisha that could deny his expansion. Now, these have gotten a little overzealous, I must say. They are fighting against the Shaolin monk here. Town Center Fire helping out a lot here for Drongo to clean this up, though, as he's mixing in some Chugenu. Chugenu should have a decent fight against these. And indeed, Onabugeisha get picked off one by one. I feel like this was way too overzealous from Blue. If he just keeps these units around the base of Drongo, he can slow him down when it comes to collecting relics. Lovely Vault to the south, but Drongo has already taken the relic from this side, so there is that, I guess. Where's that relic at, actually? Oh, Drongo hasn't dropped off the relics. He has gotten some, but he hasn't actually managed to drop them off yet. So he's actually sneaking them around. This is a sneaky, sneaky move. Love it from Drongo. Blue has lost his scouts. So despite the fact that the Onabugeisha have a fast movement speed, this, because of their limited line of sight, means that they won't be able to find these Shaolin monks. And Drongo is doing the smart thing. He's sneaking around. If he just right-clicks inside his base and he takes the shortest path, he likely gets intercepted. But doing this means that the Onabugeisha won't really find him in this area, so he should be able to get back home with most of the relics. I guess in retrospective, he probably did the right thing going for the sacred sites. I wasn't a big believer in this, but he still gets most of the relics, and the sacred sites also gave him some gold while he still had them. So I guess all is well that ends well for him. He will have the majority of the relics in this. Onabugeisha looking to take another fight here, but he does have a lot of Jugonu now to fight this. In the meantime, Blue is making a second town center, so at the end he's going to try to pull ahead in terms of eco on the basis of villagers. It's a very condensed base for him, by the way. So this is going to be tough for Drongo to aggress. Vololo coming in here with the unique sound alert here for the Shaolin Monks. Won't be able to get the Vololo here, but this is only to repel these Onabugeisha until the Jugenu arrive. Drongo is just trying to make sure that these guys cannot charge in. They have a devastating attack, partly because they do have a decent range as well on them. They can actually fight from multiple lines, so the effective DPS for a large group of Onabugeisha is very high. Having said that, they are very fragile, so the Jugenu, supported by the Monk, supported by the Town Center Fire, they can pick them off one by one, and when the dust settles, Drongo barely lost anything. On the other side, a lot of Onabugeisha went down, 2,000 resources worth of value destroyed, as compared to 950 lost. Now, with the Katana Bannerman on the field, things change quite a bit, because suddenly the Onabugeisha become a lot more powerful, but still, you need some sort of an armored troop that will absorb the arrow fire coming in from the Jugenu, so I would not be surprised to see some samurai eventually from Blue. He could also wall this off, to be honest. Given that he already has walls to the north, he has walls to the south as well. He's actually taking the hunt as well. If he walls off this central choke point, Drongo is going to have to break through those walls to have any chance of aggressing him. And I feel like that investment is very much worth it for him. At the same time, Drongo is just big chilling over here with the relics, does have 3 garrisoned already. But I think he has all 5. And there's actually one that has not been claimed yet, but Drongo should be able to yoink this. He still has a scout alive, unlike his opponent. So if he takes this position at the hilltop, he should be able to see the enemy troops being far away, and he can yoink the relic. Jugonu numbers increasing here. Tower is only being built by 1 villager for Blue. Could easily find himself getting picked off by the Jugenu. Now we're seeing some horsemen being mixed in, but as we know, Jugenu in large quantities are terrifying, and this is the issue for Blue. Even if he mixes in samurai, that won't give him an edge once Drongo has crossbows. And Drongo is now mixing in some crossbows himself. And to a mix of crossbows and the Jugenu, you don't really have a good answer in Feudal Age. 900 food per minute with 200 gold per minute as well for Blue allows him to get up to Castle Age in like a minute and a half. But the issue that he's having is that his village elite isn't going to compensate for the immediate value that Drongo is getting out of the relics. And that has been a tendency in competitive games for a long time. If your opponent is on multiple TCs, best thing that you can do is quickly go to Castle, pick up the relics, secure the sacred sites. Drongo is getting immediate value for those relics, whereas it takes a lot more time for these TCs to pay off. And that's going to show very soon. Drongo has an army lead. He actually has the positional advantage over here as well. Love how he walled himself off, though he's losing a little momentum here, having to transition to farms. Castle Age still just a distant dream here for Blue. He's actually investing very heavily into the army. Don't forget, these guys, the Onabugeisha, are buffed by the Katana Samurai. But at the same time, on the other side, you have Castle Age troops. So it's not just the fact that Drongo has better numbers, it's also the fact that Blue is facing premium Castle Age units over here with a Feudal Age army. More Jugenu on the way for Drongo. He's mixing in some Lancers himself. This is why I said that a wall would be lovely here for Blue. It would buy him so much time, and it would make it so much more difficult for Drongo to break through here. Blue is also deprived of vision. He does not have a scout. So you see, he's kind of playing a very dangerous game over here, positioning himself on the hilltop, not having any clue of what Drongo is doing. Right now, he's completely deprived of vision. He's got no idea about Drongo's army composition. He's got no idea about the size of Drongo's army. And frankly, he has no idea about any kind of eco expansion from Drongo either. Drongo could be taking this boar and he wouldn't know about it. He's actually going to check exactly for this reason. You see, he's actually going through all the food sources, seeing if Drongo is there. But by this time, Drongo has went on farms, so he won't find anything. But this is a smart move. He's probing these resources, seeing if he can find anything. I love the extra stone being mined, though. That is going to be a big one. He is going to need this for, of course, the upgrades on the town centers, the Daimyo Manor, because he's going to be under a lot of aggression. And you see, this is a big thing with the Japanese. Their castles are restricted to Imperial Age. So many other civilizations in this scenario would go for a defensive keep here and just try to play a long game, which in and of itself is bad against a player that has 5 relics, but right now it's just surviving for the time being for blue. But with the Japanese, all you can do is essentially upgrade your town centers. Oh, this was a nasty, nasty attack over here by blue. Runs into all of these Jugenu. And this is what I was referring to. He had no vision on this army, and he definitely got caught off guard by the size of it, I feel. Looking to intercept the Shaolin monks, once again deprived of vision. Almost runs into a trap here, and Drongo is ready to go. 41 Jugenu, 10 Lancers, supported by some Shaolin monks. Only 3 crossbows. If blue had a lot of samurai here, he would be able to hold this. Does have quite some horsemen supported by an Uma Bannerman, and he is aging up to Castle Age. You're always very vulnerable when you're aging up, and this is exactly what Drongo is going to exploit here. When he sees that Castle Age come in, that's his go sign. And I think, like, he doesn't really have the stone for a keep, but if he had, dropping a keep over here would be probably the way to seal this game. Still, this is a Feudal Age army floating gate coming in. Drongo will engage this the moment the floating gate is finished. Indeed, Drongo sees his opponent in Castle Age, takes this fight before the upgrades could come in. And the Chukunu just decimate everything that we have on the other side. Feudal Age horsemen don't live long against this Katana Bannerman getting picked off by the Jugenu and the crossbows. And the Onabugeisha are just way too fragile for this engagement. A very decisive engagement here by Drongo. 6,000 resources value destroyed against 2,000. And off the back of the Jushi, off the back of those relics, he is going to secure this game. We have seen why the Shaolin build from Jushi is devastating. And this applies against any civilization that isn't able to put up a lot of premium units in Feudal Age. Talk about French, talk about Jeanne d'Arc. These civilizations can put some knights on the field that actually slow down this expansion with the Shaolin monks. Civilizations that cannot get a large amount of archers out there or some sort of a premium unit like a knight, these civilizations will struggle against the Shaolins. And Drongo did the right thing here. He picked up all the relics, and then he just played single TC, leveraged all the gold that he has gotten, and then he used that Castle Age power spike to take his opponent out before the opponent was able to get to Castle Age, get his own upgrades in, and potentially build an army that's capable of dealing with mass Chukunu. Hopefully you have enjoyed this cast. If you did, I greatly appreciate if you throw a like to this video, if you subscribe to the channel. Those metrics help me greatly. If you subscribe, you will also, of course, see my future casts coming out. Hopefully you will find those interesting as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next cast.